This tutorial video will go through different lens features for Kestrel cameras. Each camera, including our Raptors and Eagle cameras, have very similar features as far as the lens control settings on the actual hardware themselves. Displaying our Kestrel cameras here, one feature that is common to all of our camera series is the aperture ring, denoted with an open or closed or the big dial here within our fixed focal length lenses for the Kestrels. This ring allows light into the camera body to either see the volume better or to eliminate extra light within our volume. If we see our images here on the left-hand side, we then can find an image that is a little bit too bright to what we would expect within our motion capture system. On the right, we have our aperture closed and our markers within our 3D capture system being able to track and identify centroids or the calculation of markers within the system. By opening or closing the aperture, we could adjust the focus of some of our cameras or some of the markers to the cameras. In the case that we cannot, we then would like to adjust our focus ring. The focus ring is typically denoted with either an infinity sign to an N or just the other dial along our fixed focal length lens. These two aspects are similar, and there will be one additional feature within our varifocal lenses. In order to focus our cameras, we can adjust the dial either towards the infinity sign or the N, or either way in order to adjust what our cameras can see. If we show and display the image that we had earlier of an opened apertured camera, we can see that each one of our markers are out of focus to this image. If we look over to the right-hand side, by simply adjusting our aperture ring, we can then focus some of our cameras to seeing centroids or markers. In the case that we cannot, we then would need to adjust our focus ring within Cortex. Opening the fine focus window, or the insight focusing ring, would then allow us to adjust our focus to better focus within the markers in our volume. By adjusting the dial to either direction, our goal is to fill this window with the largest green square possible. Once we are able to fill this window with the largest green square possible, we then can find that the markers and the calculation of markers and the display of markers would then become much more crisp as far as an image goes, displayed here within this image. Additionally, some cameras, like our varifocal cameras or our varifocal lenses, have an additional feature which will allow you to zoom in and out of the volume. In order to adjust these zoom features, we would then want to see the volume, and if we are having issues seeing any marker, whether that is distance or marker size, we then can zoom the camera in to seeing the volume better. One setting that needs to be adjusted if we do change the focal length is going to be within our camera aiming tab. The focal length setting listed in millimeters here would then need to be changed in order to display what our focal length would be for that given camera. Each individual camera would then need to have their focal length listed here along with the orientation within the volume. One thing to denote on our varifocal lenses is that the focal length can be listed within millimeters somewhere on the lens. In this case, we have a lens that has a focal length that can focus to either 12 millimeters or 36 millimeters or anywhere in between in order to see our volume best. We then would adjust our focus dial or the infinity to N dial to better see markers within our volume if we are still having a hard time to seeing markers. The aperture, focus, and zoom setting rings along the lens provide integral parts in order to calibrate within Cortex. Seen here, you can see the L frame with crisp circles as centroids for each marker along the L frame. This would indicate that a camera has been focused and aimed properly into our volume to see the L frame, but should also be done to see the volume better itself. If you have any additional questions or concerns, please feel free to reach out to our customer support team at support@motionanalysis.com.